We haven't talked a whole ton about the Giants. So my question is, what do you think they might potentially struggle with? And is there any player on the roster that you kind of fear?
Scoring points.
Because of Daniel Jones?
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle to score points, but I'm not waiting till tomorrow. I am picking the Giants to upset the Cowboys.
What?
Yeah. I think it's going to be something like 16-13, and it's because we missed an extra point and a field goal.
Oh, my God.
So I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think the Cowboys are going to have trouble blocking because of injuries on the offensive line. I'm not expecting Tyler Smith to play at this point for week one. So I think that, yes, I think the Giants are going to struggle offensively. I also think the Cowboys will struggle offensively, and it'll be a very defensive game.
That feels like a sky is falling kind of offense right there.
Yeah, but just for as long as Tyler Smith comes back the next week, I'm not saying that then they score 32 points. But I do think the strength of both of these teams is defense. And now that the Cowboys are dealing with, I do think Tyron Smith is way past his prime and at best an average offensive lineman. And now that Tyler Smith isn't going to play and you're going to be playing a below average guard in this game, I do think that you are going to struggle to protect Dak. I think you're going to struggle to run the football, which means you're going to struggle to score. I do think the Cowboys can win because I do think it'll be a close, low-scoring game.
I got a different opinion, Kevin.
Can I just throw out super quick? Tyler Smith said he's optimistic that he can play Sunday, but he has to practice on Saturday.
He has to practice on Saturday. He said he has to practice on Saturday.
If he does play, I will pick the Cowboys to win.
Oh, Tyler Smith's that much of a difference maker. For
yeah.
All right.
Like 20-16 or like 16-13 you lose. So like I'm picking, I think whoever gets to 20 could win. I like that's how I feel about this game going in. That there's not going to be a lot of offense.
The Giants were 14-5 against the spread last year, Mike.
Oh,
so like to what you're saying is they played a lot of close games last year. And like if I would have picked them 14 times or 14 of 19 times, I would have probably not been losing betting with Bassick all year.
Unless you picked the wrong 5 in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a big factor right there is that it will probably be a close game, and this is the Cowboys trying to like boot things up without any preseason action.
Twitch is mad at me.
Oh, really? Well, the fan text is mad at you too.
So what? I picked the Giants to win. If Tyler, so what? Like I'm not an expert at this. Has anybody heard my predictions on the Cowboys
ever for this show?
So
but
this, I will say,
I cannot predict the Cowboys to save my life.
Okay, fair enough.
I was listening to Broadish yesterday, Kevin, talk about something that I was like, man, it's time to eat then. And he was talking about their cornerbacks. They have 2 starting rookie cornerbacks on the outside.
One of them's been pretty impressive.
Oh, that's cool and everything, but shouldn't Brandon Cooks be able to demolish that in one of those guys? That's my thing. Is Brandon Cooks is a veteran with speed. It's not like he's lost a step or anything. This is a veteran with speed. He's going up against a rookie. My sell, Kevin, is sell him over and over and over on inside slants and then do that double move and take advantage of him. CeeDee Lamb, like I think this is one of those games where your outside wide receivers are going to have an absolute blast. Whoever's on the inside has to deal with the Dory Jackson. That's pretty tough. But, man, the outside should be an absolute blast for us.
I'm willing to wager that Trey Hawkins is the player some people are keyed in on. He's a 6th-round pick from Old Dominion, and he's made his way into the starting lineup. Now, there's 2 ways to look at that. I understand that it's time to eat, or I wonder, it's like this kid's just like, hey, I'll do whatever it takes. You guys don't even know how good I was because I was at Old Dominion, and he showed up and was able to make his way in as one of the starters. But I understand that point of view.
Just think about, Kevin, like you've been doing this radio thing for a while now,
right?
All right, and you get, let's say, some rookie kid that just won the Fan Phenom, walks in here and he wants to radio you. And
awesome.
And you would abuse that kid, right?
Man,
like
that would be awesome.
It's fine if the kid wants to show up and do his thing. And I keep saying kid because he's younger than our veteran receivers. Sure. Our veteran receivers should be at a point now in their careers where they are experts at their jobs. And I know they're going to try and give safety help. That's fine too. Now we have Jake Ferguson open all day. So I think that this is I'm excited about this game on Sunday. I'll be at the Old 75 hanging out with everybody that wants to come out to the Old 75 in Richardson and chill with me. Come on out and let's party all night long because I'm ready for it, dude.
I like some of the optimism that's not even about the score. It's about just ideas or broader ideas. This is the MF year from the 214. Dak begins his MVP run on Sunday. God, I want all of that to happen. All right.
I don't want Dak on an MVP run.
Don't worry.
Did you say you do not?
I don't.
Why?
I want him to be an underdog. And the problem is, Mike, with the Cowboys, they're never just underdogs. I want you got to constantly be on the rise, Kevin. And that's what I want is people to be like the Rangers. I'm hoping that they're constantly like they're on the rise after this, but man, it's tough. But I want them to be kind of right in there where it's like, is he or is he not? We don't know. This team's just really good.
Okay, look, if we peaked in the playoffs for once, that would be fantastic.
I want them to win the MVP at the end of the season. They're like, oh my gosh.
Super Bowl MVP?
December was, yes, exactly.
Okay. Now, did you see what Tiki Barber had to say?
Why?
All the time.
Okay, he said,
Eli's never winning a Super Bowl.
He said he would take Daniel Jones over Dak Prescott 100 times out of 100, which is fine. I get why he said that. Here's the part that got me, and I think most people would agree with me. I feel like most people would not agree with the idea of taking Daniel Jones over Dak. Right, like right now, you can have Daniel Jones or Dak. Who do you want?
Traditionally, I would not take Daniel Jones. Like, I'm very interested to see how much he's progressed this year because last year was this is kind of the same law I give Trevor Lawrence. Last year is his first like real initiation with Daves. All right. And last year for Trevor Lawrence was his first initiation with Doug Peterson. And so you went from something that was just garbage to maybe something that has a semblance of organization. And now, what are you going to do to take that next step? What are you going to do that's going to be a massive move in the next direction? Are you just going to stay still and be like, hey, I got my $40 million. I'm good at quarterback now. Like, I'll just go around and throw the football and blame everybody else. Or are you going to go out there and say, you know what, I want to go be great at something. Here's what I added to it. But I don't know. I didn't see enough from Daniel Jones in the preseason to know that that change has been made.
You've seen one of them quite a bit, Saquon Barkley or Darren Waller, create any level of concern for you? They've done a good job at slowing down Barkley, at least last year.
Yeah, he had a big play for a touchdown, and that stunk.
Yeah, the rest of those other two games, not much.
Hopeful that the defensive tackles that we've added to this, and Hankins and Mozzie, are much improved in that spot, and it can just clog up a hole where he has to run around and into one of our linebackers. With Waller,
I think I'm more concerned about him.
Okay. He is a talented tight end.
He's not hurt right now.
Yet. Okay? Like, that's all I have to say is if you've ever drafted Darren Waller in a fantasy league, Kevin, you know that at some point he will get hurt. So, like, that's just my thing is, you know, what kind of is he in better shape than he was last year? Where is he right now? So I think he's a great target, and he might have some good moments in this game.
Obviously, two things you'll look at defensively from this game is if they can clamp down on the tight end and shut down, or slow down the rushing game. Shut down is maybe too optimistic, but slow down the rushing game. I feel like if you get those two elements working, the rest of the defense is probably already doing fantastic.
This Cowboys defense wants to be abusive. Like that's their mindset right now is we don't want you to gain an inch against us. And I'm very interested to see if they can live up to their talk because they have talked a lot this offseason about their defense being better. And you know what? I know there's a guy out there on Twitter. His name's Andre, and he always will pull stuff up that we've said. And last year, at the end of the season, I ripped Stephen Jones apart and said, I just want you to be better at your job. You know, like if this is the case, you need to be better at your job. And he was better this offseason. He and Jerry and the group, they got Stephon Gilmore to add to the defense. They said, while Deron Bland was really good, Anthony Brown was not good enough. We're not just going to re-sign that dude. We're going to go get a legit cornerback to be opposite our other legit cornerback. So they wanted to make this defense a vaunted, terrifying defense. I hope that the talk that they talk this year, they can walk it too.
Okay, couple of questions for you there then. Defensive line going up against John Michael Schmitz. He was the top-rated center in the draft, but still a rookie.
Yeah.
Or Adoree, which you brought up earlier, going up against CeeDee Lamb. Bigger advantage for Cowboys.
Probably like Osa against the rookie.
Okay.
I would say now they're going to try to protect the rookie there for sure in as many ways possible. But if it's Osa, Mozzie, Jonathan Hankins, if they're kind of say, hey, let's use this to our advantage.
Mozzie would be interesting because two higher rated rookies going up against one another.
And I don't know exactly how much how many strides Mozzie took this preseason, but that's something that I think throughout the season we're going to be monitoring. But man, I really like the Adoree Jackson CeeDee Lamb combo. But listening to Broadus again, he thinks he's going to be in the slot a lot. So if that's going to be the case, where are you going to say that's our best matchup, or we found a matchup outside we need to take advantage of? Hey, Kevin, we saw a lot of trips in training camp. We saw a lot of trip lineups. That can be confusing to the secondary when they're making these rub routes, and we actually saw rub routes. We actually saw some pick plays happening, so that's kind of exciting too.
And from the 817, some Daniel Jones-based, not necessarily football questions. Why is Daniel Jones starting to look like Eli Manning?
Like physically?
I guess that was the
point. In the face?
And then for the 817, I don't feel like this is fair to put on somebody until like maybe the end of the year. Is Doomsday Part 3? Are we on Part 3?
Yes.
Okay. That just feels
Part
like...
2 happened in like 1977.
Yeah.
So we're probably due.
Yeah. That just feels like a bar that, you know what? If you run over everyone in the playoffs en route to the Super Bowl, then sure. After week 1, I probably can't imagine them doing anything that I'm like, yep, there it is. Lock it in.
What do you like more? Like, what do you think was the better defense? The Doomsday 2... Ravens, Seattle, like what Bears?
I wasn't and that's tough. I wasn't old enough to have a good appreciation for the Doomsday, or at least not born. And same thing with the Bears. I thought the Ravens defense was the most incredible I'd ever seen, because when the Bears were doing their thing, I was 5. When the Ravens were doing their thing, I understood what was happening, and they were freaking credible. I'll go Ravens on that one.
That's kind of what I want them to be like, dude.
I'll be biased
aggressive
in that
and loud.
The Bears was a 1-year wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, they were solid, but I mean, they weren't in any other Super Bowls. They weren't threatening much in the 80s. They just had this one unbelievable year and had a couple other decent years. So I think Doomsday and the Ravens' purple people eaters stolen from the Vikings.
Yes, because I immediately think of the Vikings when you say that.